We have my good friend Hendrik, who's joining us from Sweden. He's worked in cybersecurity for a long time. He understands strategy. He understands what's happening. And we're just going to sort of talk about a little bit of his background and then his unique perspective on how he sees cybersecurity today, where he sees it's going in the future, and what impact he thinks AI, quantum computing might have on the security field. Welcome to Life of a CISO. I'm Dr. Eric Cole, your host, and we'll be taking you on a journey each week on what it takes to be a CISO and what are solutions that you can implement today if you are currently a Chief Information Security Officer or if you want to be one in the future. This is Life of a CISO. Welcome to this week's edition of Life of a CISO, where we're actually going in and talking to different cybersecurity experts. And what I'm so excited today is we're not just US, we're going global. We're actually coming in from Sweden today. We have my good friend Hendrik, who's joining us from Sweden. He's worked in cybersecurity for a long time. He understands strategy. He understands what's happening. And we're just going to sort of talk about a little bit of his background and then his unique perspective on how he sees cybersecurity today, where he sees it's going in the future, and what impact he thinks AI, quantum computing might have on the security field. But before I get ahead of myself, Hendrik, welcome to the show. And can you give sort of a brief background of your experience and how you view cybersecurity?
Yeah, thank you, Eric, and thank you for having me on this podcast. It's an honor. Great being here. And yeah, my background and who I am. I'm a guy a couple of years over 40. Have over 2 decades in the industry. Been working with security since the early 2000. Mainly, the majority part of my work has been done as a consultant. So over plus 20 years as a consultant, and most of the time in that field working with security management and strategy. So that is kind of also what I do today on my day-to-day basis, where I work at a software company and where I'm responsible for their cybersecurity strategy and governance. So that is very shortly who I am in my profession.
Awesome. And one thing I like to start is, how did you get started in cybersecurity? Because I have a lot of listeners that are coming out of college or switching over. And one of the things I always hear is, well, if you don't have experience, you can't get in. But the reality is you and me both had our first job, right? We got hired in security where we didn't have experience. So can you talk a little bit about your first job in cyber, how you got started and how you broke into the field?
Yeah, good one. I mean, it was not a given that I would start working with cybersecurity from the first place, but I were kind of more or less surrounded with computers and technology when I grew up. My father was a big technology enthusiast, and I had all these like Xboxes down to Sega 16-bit, Commodore 64, Amiga 500, PC, all those things. And it was a natural part for me to sit in front of a computer. But I were actually going into the economics field. That was where I thought it would go, and that was I studied for 3 years in upper secondary school. But then when I finished that education, I kind of missed the train to jump on to the next education, to the economy studies. They started out, and maybe I was a bit lazy at that time. I didn't apply for it, and my mother found a IT security training that was 12 months long and said, okay, maybe you should try this one out because you're pretty good at these computers and been spending time in front of them. So I gave it a shot, and I kind of fall in love with it. We say I fall in love with it. I felt it was fun, you know. It was very fun. I loved the abstractional aspect from the very beginning that had to do with IT and security. So from that, 12 months studies, more or less directly afterwards, and this was pretty close to the IT crash as well, when the IT crash were taking place, and I graduated from my studies. My friends thought I were a bit of an idiot who studied IT at that time, but I more or less got a job directly afterwards and started out to working with identity access management. So going from the studies into one of the biggest companies, IT companies in Nordics. So it was pretty cool, like going from school and doing the stuff that I learned. But yeah, I mean, I think you come very long if we should twist it. Like, what should I say to someone who's going into the field today?
You just read my mind. That before we go there, though, the one thing I do want to emphasize to the listeners that you hit is, to me, loving what you do and passion about it is really critical. It's one of those, if you're just going into cyber for the money, yeah, you'll do okay. But if you really love it and passionate about it, you're going to succeed, because the reality is it's not a 9-to-5 job. You have to be doing evening and weekend, because it's always changing and always modifying. So if you're not committed and love it, you're going to have a hard time really excelling at it. And then let's jump to the next question you brought up, is what advice would you give to somebody who's sort of breaking in or wants to switch careers or wants to move into a different area of cyber?
Yeah. And I think there is, like, for me, it was the curiosity when I go back. Why did I choose it? It was, of course, my mother who said, try this one out. But at the same time, curiosity. If you like what you do, I think that will serve you so well. And somewhat find your obsession, whatever it is. Sounds also a bit crazy, like that you should be obsessed with something. But I think there is a reality to it as well, that if you are a bit obsessed with it, and you think it's fun, of course, you shouldn't be obsessed and think it's boring as hell. But if you're obsessed, if you think it's fun and you're curious about it, I think those ingredients are good. And don't be afraid of like dipping your toes into different fields within cybersecurity either, because it's a very broad field. Yep. So don't lock yourself in an early stage in your career. Start somewhere. I mean, and nowadays, Eric, there are so many platforms, all these technology platforms, all these educations that are coming, people giving away educations pro bono. I mean, so much cred to those who do it, who spend the time giving it away. In our days, back when dinosaurs walked on Earth, we were more or less like, okay, you read the book, you do the labs, you sit in front of the computer, you spin up your whole own infrastructure and do the stuff. Now you more or less have it around you almost everywhere, as long as you have an internet connection. So I would say be curious, but don't lock yourself in too early either. If you start out with a certain field with an infrastructure maybe related to security, okay, if that was not for you, don't stop there. Test something else. Be able to pivot. Try it out. I mean, it's not the end there. And I think also, like, if you do a little bit of this and that during your career or those early ages, it will also serve you well, because you get a very broad perspective of security. It's not a narrow field. There are so many domains to cover, and if you know a little bit about, not about everything, but about many domains, it will serve you well. It will. You will have so much back of it. But I would say be curious and also follow your heart to that extent that you do what is fun. If it's not fun, I think that then you should try something else out. And everything maybe has a best due date also. Maybe you get tired of something. You think, okay, secure development was your thing, but after a couple of years or when you feel like, okay, time to do something new. Try it out. I mean, try it out. There's so many things to do.
And you nailed it. It's funny because like 15 years ago, if you wanted to take cybersecurity training, it was going to cost you like $6,000 or $8,000 and commit a week. But now there's so many free resources out there, or really low cost training. But my only suggestion is definitely try out a lot of things. But if you pick an initial course, finish it. Like if you go in and say, hey, I'm interested in being a SOC analyst, and there's a 6-hour course, finish the course. Because I see a lot of people, they go for an hour going, oh, I don't know if this is what I want to do. And they end up jumping around, but never getting any real core knowledge. So build the core knowledge and finish those courses. And then I guess the other question, which is sort of a debate, there's no right or wrong answer, is what's your feeling on certs? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like, you got to have the certs, you got to have Security Plus and CISSP and all those. And there's a lot of other people that are like, experience is more important than a cert. Where do you sort of fall with certs versus experience?
Yeah. Before that, credit to you, because you said a couple of days ago in one of your videos, focus focus. Like if you have focus, and as you said here, finish the stuff that you do, focus on it. I mean determination there. So I totally agree with you there. But now going into the certs, that you must have the CISSP, you must have the CISM, and you must have all those listed in the LinkedIn banner. As I do, I have them there. I can also not fit anything more there. But for me, it's like this. My opinion here, certs fill a certain space, I would say. They have become more or less the gatekeeper for HR, which I think it's not bad, but it's not good either. But they don't really tell if you master something or if you can it. You don't need to be a master on something just to have a cert or a certificate. But I mean, it's a snapshot of time. It's something that you do once. And then if you don't practice it, you will lose it, more or less. I think that the best way, of course, somewhere we need to start. If you're new to the field, could be good to like go for the certifications, to have something, have the badge or Pokemon to show and say, hey, I have these Pokemons and I've done this a bit, so I kind of know what I do. Yeah. But I would flip it around as well and say that, okay, people are within the field, has been there for a couple of years. Go for knowledge first. Do that. If you have the knowledge, then the certifications and Pokemons, they will be pretty easy for you to pick. But also here once again, pick those which you think is fun. There's no right or wrong, which you should have. You should have a long list, a short list. But I think we're kind of like back there, as you said here in the Ingress, Eric, that if you don't think it's fun, it's not the 9 to 5 or 8 to 5 job. There's so much changing in it. And I think that having as one of my closest friends said to me, he approaches everything that he does in life with this student first mindset, like kind of being the student. And I very much applied that philosophy as well when speaking with him. He always goes in with a very educational mindset, learn everything. And he's not afraid of starting at the very, very bottom of the scale, learning the basics. So I think, but in general, I would say having that mindset, going in with the student first mindset, with the learning stuff, do it for learning, do it for getting the knowledge. But maybe the end goal maybe is not even to getting the certification. Certification is maybe somewhere in the middle there, which you get the certification, but the mastery, to become a master of it, or really become the Jedi master, you need to go out and practice it as well. Yeah. So having the Pokemon is just a piece of it. But it could serve very well for the person as well to validate your skills against something. You can do it for the competition, just so that you get it. Because if you earn a badge or something, no one can take it away from you. If you don't break the rules and stuff like that. but I mean, but I don't think they're not necessary. They're not necessary for people who have the experience. There are more things that are more important. And especially, I would say, if you're going into the security leadership domain, I think that there's different things that should be focused on compared to putting time on these certifications. So, but yeah, they have a place, but they are not. You do well without them as well. You don't need them. It's not a do or die scenario in those.
No, I agree. A lot of people sort of ask me about degrees too, do you need MBA or PhD? And my thing is, it might be helpful in the beginning, but the more you get in your career, the less important they get. Right now, when a company is hiring me, they could care less if I have a doctorate or if I have my CISSP. It's my knowledge and expertise. So the more experience you get, you're right, the less important. But it is helpful to sort of get into the field and prove your knowledge. And I guess another area sort of getting in the cyber and even moving into being a CISO is a lot of people sort of have a negative connotation with making mistakes. And to me, it's sort of, I view it as a positive. I go in, if I'm not making a few mistakes a week, I'm not learning, right? Because that's how you learn and adapt. So sort of viewing this concept of, hey, you got to learn, make mistakes, figure things out as sort of a positive. Can you sort of share maybe one part of your career where it looked like you made a huge mistake, but ended up being sort of one of the best things that ever happened?
Yeah, of course. I think one of those is when I picked a assignment in my career being a consultant for a very cool place, cool title, cool everything. Loads of people to manage in that improvement program. Yep. But then I kind of realized during that time as well that okay, this was not the place for me, because me and the dude who was my how should you say, he who assigned me to the contract, we didn't really go well together. We had different opinions of how things should be done. And I kind of joked with him within the beginning and said, I have my truth Tourette's, so you better be comfortable with it, because I have my integrity how we should do stuff when it comes to security. And I will speak up when I think we're doing things wrong. But that turned out to kind of be like spending too much time in a place, finding maybe my own ego, instead of like saying, okay, it's time to go different paths here. It's time for me to say, maybe someone else should do this job. But yes, I think that one was a big learning for me to understand that it's a two-way street there. I mean, he had his way how to do stuff, and he was the boss there. He took me in as an advisor there. So I followed along, but when the chemistry is not right, I mean, it's two people there dancing, and somewhere it will not always go that way, that you will be liked by everyone, or that everyone will tap your back or shoulder and say, hey, you're doing a good job here and stuff like that. But I think like picking that assignment was something that I learned very much from me. Okay, what do I need from a leader? And what do I don't need from a leader? And who am I when it comes to leadership as well? How do I want to be led? And what do I do when I face certain challenges as well? Because I had a team, I had a dude who I were reporting to, and they're in the middle trying to balance it out, and this huge improvement program to increase the security posture for the company. So many stakeholders dragging the attention and trying to please, but at the same time, you cannot please everyone. And somewhere, so good realization. And I think that this is also common for many. And one of my old bosses said to me, I think this quote is everywhere on the internet, like, when you pick an assignment or when you pick a job, don't pick the job, pick the leader. Yep. So that you have the right leader. And it goes for the CISO as well. I mean, if you go in as a CISO or a security leader or whatever, if you don't have the support, or if there is a mentality which you don't really share, or the culture is not what you share, you directly go into that uphill battle and trying to like change that, or get your sponsors to be like having your back. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to change people. It's hard to change someone. You can't do it really. You can, of course, have wishes and stuff, but I mean, what you can do, you can change yourself. But I can influence you, Eric, in the other end here, to try to tell you a good story or try to be a kind person. But in the end, I can't change who you are. It must come from you. And I mean, now we go into a bit of like this hippie shit and sounds like spiritual stuff that I'm speaking about, but this is very much the truth. I mean, we learn from these mistakes. Then, of course, I made technical mistakes here and there, like miscalculated some budget maybe sometime, and pushed the buttons wrong here, like deployed something when I did technical stuff. Those things happen. But I mean, if we look at it, what I said here, if you have the right leader behind you, those mistakes, they will fade away. You will like, oh, okay, this is a good lesson for me to think about. And I have those lessons when I kind of like did the wrong stuff, but you still are supported, or you still have your team in your corner. You kind of like go directly into learning mode. You don't suffer so much from it. But if you have a bad crew behind you, or a bad boss, you know, who you don't like, or the other way around, then it's like, it's hard. Those learnings are also good, but they feel even more, I would say.
And you're so true, because I'm a big proponent that the CISO shouldn't report to the CIO, because it's sort of a conflict of interest. And a lot of people are like, oh no, Eric, I report to my CIO when it works great. I'm like, yeah, because you have a good leader. But yeah. I mean, wait till there's a conflict where they have to choose between uptime, availability, and security. Yes. It's going to get ugly pretty quick. But I'd love your opinion. Where do you think a CISO should sit in the organization? Like, are you okay with them under the CIO? Should they be equal? Should the CIO report to the CISO? Should the CISO report to the COO? Where do you sort of see the Chief Information Security Officer reporting or sitting into the org structure?
I think there's, as you said there, I think that is the kind of the best answer. You already said it. If you have a good leader, if you have the good like CIO there who can report to, who can take both sides, who can be the opportunistic dude who looks at okay, how should we do the digital transformation, but balance it out with security. But it's rare. I mean, it's rare to find that person as well. Because security is such a dynamic field, and it kind of goes into the conflict with this CIO here and there. So, but I mean, I have seen it working, but not so long ago, I saw the opposite as well. A CISO who I know reported to the CTO. They didn't come along, so the CISO need to leave, or he chose to leave. He said, okay, we are not playing in the same team, so I think a change is needed here from my side. So he left. So I think I think you're spot on there. Preferably the higher up, the better, but not necessarily. And I mean, everything has to do also with independence, so that there's no, how should we say, the communication or the stuff's not filtered out from the CISO through the CIO to the board or to the CEO. So, but if that is not the case, then I don't mind. I think once again, leadership. If you have the right leaders all the way from the top to the bottom, the culture is great, and I mean everyone has their back. Then I think you can leave the CISO out from the top there. You don't need to sit at the table, as long as the communication is there, as long as like the accountabilities are clear, the reporting is clear, the responsibilities are clear. I mean, in that case, does the dude or girl need to sit there? I don't think so. But in some cases, it would be needed, because of like the culture wouldn't how should we say, premiere the CISO being like 2 notches down.
Awesome. And I sort of believe like everybody has sort of principles or rules that guide their life. Like to me, the two that I always go by is let data drive decisions, not emotions. Mm-hmm. Focus on data-driven analysis. And then my second one is smart people know the right answer. Brilliant people ask the right question. So curious, do you sort of have a phrase or two that you sort of live by, drives your career, drives your philosophy, drives your life?
Yeah, one of those is like we live in such a high pace in these days, and I would say many times we say it at work as well. But I try to echo it for myself. It's life happens right now. Right now, make the best out of every day, and then also life is not it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It goes with work and it goes with life as well. You should last very long, but here comes a third one. Shitty days. There's no vaccine for them, or like bad things happening. It happens in security. No one has the vaccine for a security incident or bad stuff happening. But in life as well, Eric, you know it as I do. Bad things happen. Everyone needs to go through them. It happens everyon. So
life is learning. Yep, learning.
Yeah. I mean, so kind of like. Yeah, you need to learn from all those things. Okay, speed is one thing, but I mean the direction is everything there. Make it count. Don't rush everything, but enjoy what is happening right now as well.
I love that sort of life's a journey, not a destination, and it's one of those. It's not what happens, but what you learn and how you grow from those things. So let's sort of pivot sort of more to today. You made the comment, and I agree with it, that security is changing so quickly. What do you sort of see as the current state of security today? Do you consider it like good or bad? Like if you had to rate security, like companies at an A+, a B, a C-, an F, like how do you rate overall security implementation and how companies are doing with cybersecurity?
Yeah, I think we still do so many. When I say we, I speak for many companies here. I speak about my observations, but still many foundational security mistakes. We poor hygiene is still such a common thing out there for many, and that is leading up to many situations that we see as well with breaches, with attacks, with data leakages. So I think, but yeah, I would say I think if there's something that everyone should spend time on, it's to increase the security hygiene. Those 5 things up in the every of these CIS top 18, all these standards and frameworks and things like that. If we only do the top there and compare those top things with what you read in the security report, you will kind of like see the correlation there pretty quickly. That if we do the foundation in a good way or the hygiene in a good way, you mitigate very, very much of the risks. But at the same time, there's no vaccine, so there's no guarantee either.
Yeah.
But at the same time, only doing the hygiene stuff isn't enough today, I would say. We need to kind of like use the crystal ball in a good way, because this one is so interesting, Eric. We have never been served with more data, not more information, or better like, future cannot be predicted, but it can be forecasted in a way. We have never been equipped with more data or being able to do better forecast than today. But still, we don't really do it in a good way in security, I would say. We're very much like firefighting, or not even doing that, like the firefighting with the security hygiene stuff. But I would say this is also something that companies should do a little bit more about. Not go full blown into trying to be in the forefront or in the future, but spend a little time. Especially if you work as a security leader, you should be shaking that crystal ball or magic 8 ball or whatever, trying to do some voodoo to forecast the future, because it's up to you. It's up to you. If you are a security leader who should lead your company, you should also try to like, okay, where are we going as a company within the industry where we are operating, or compared to the industry which are very close to where we are operating. Yeah. I mean, we have the data, but look at this one as well. This one is so interesting. We almost done the same mistake with Are we back?
Okay. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, I think you dropped for a sec, but we're good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but okay, yes. Haven't we almost done the same mistake there with AI as we did with cloud computing back in days? We kind of like jumped onto the cloud computing, boom, when it came, didn't so much think about the security consequences.
Yep.
Nothing wrong. I don't say this is wrong. And here also comes the cool ingredients here, the CISO, CIO, driving the opportunistic way and the negative risk. We need to balance it out. The same goes with AI as well. AI is nothing new. You know it, I know it, many know it. We have been presented with the data, with all these modern philosophers speaking about it. And we have seen the TV series as well. Black Mirror there. We have seen the predictions of what will happen like in the future. What I'm trying to say is that we spend too little time on trying to navigate the future. We jump onto it, then we firefight it. Now we see the same stuff happening almost with AI as it was with the cloud. New standards come, new certifications come. We need AI security specialists. Nothing wrong there, but I felt we were maybe not so. We didn't prepare for the future in the way, and we didn't really learn from the past, which I think we should have done. Yeah. So making the same mistakes, maybe there's a human aspect of it, but I think trying to be a better prepared for the future, at least, that is something I would like to see more about, in balance with, of course, doing the hygiene stuff, because hygiene, it will evolve with the future as well. So what we consider now today being a certain hygiene level, that will change or increase or transform into the future as well. So we cannot just sit there, because time is not static. It is dynamic. It will move.
So you brought up AI. Do you see AI as a negative or a positive? Because I know some people like, oh, AI is the worst thing because it's given attackers the upper hand. Other people like it's the best thing because it's given us more advanced tools. So where do you fall on the AI train? Is it a positive for cybersecurity or a negative?
I were kind of like waiting for AI to come into the field because I was one of those who read very much about it from the 2015, I think it was. Start to read about it and start to follow the trends. So I think it's a good thing, but it's like with an animal, people say, is this animal like, are sharks, are they bad because they're the apex predator? Yeah. And we say the same stuff with AI, like, now comes the apex predator, or the quantum computing maybe is the apex predator. Yeah. But the most vicious and fearful animal. Everything has a good and bad side, of course. I think that is the nature of it. And I think that is also how it will be within the security field. We see it kind of independent of what it is, like cloud as well, old technologies coming, legacy stuff. Is it bad? Is it good? I think that there will be so much, if we zoom out from security, that will help humanity with AI that we kind of miss to think about. But we should be very aware of that. Okay, what are the consequences? Because I don't think it has very much always to do with security, but very much about to do with humanity as well. What will it do with us? What do we become and feel redundant so that someone is smarter than us? Is that something like that should be a real threat? I mean, but I mean, is good or bad? I think it's very much that how do we adapt to it as well. I love it. And we can ask ourselves, okay, is it going a bit too fast for us? Can we adapt to the pace? That's
what I agree. I think we're going way too fast. I agree with you. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we're introducing almost a new species to us that we don't really know how it fits in or how we should take care of it or how we take care of us. We learn as we go, which is cool. But I mean, so I think good and bad, of course, there will be like upside, downside, but it's very much up to us who are the humans who are like putting it together, trying to find a good way how to balance it out so that it don't become rogue. But
exactly.
It's maybe I would also say maybe we're going a bit too fast. That is more my concern. The opportunistic stuff in total, like how we're driving technology.
Awesome. And we're sort of coming to the end, but I'll finish with one last question. Is sort of, we've talked about quantum computing for a while and the impact on encryption. And now like the latest is in 10 years, quantum is going to break RSA and sort of all encryption is going to be null and void unless we come up with all new algorithms. What's sort of your take on that? Do you think that's a real prediction or you think that's still a lot of hype out there and it's going to take a lot longer before that happens?
Yeah, I'll put a twist on this one to the listeners here. What is saying that we're not already there?
Yeah.
If someone holds the keys to the kingdom, if someone would already be there and have these, like they have already figured it out, they have quantum computing, why would they go out there and say, hey, I have it in my back pocket?
So you think it's already there? I love it. Like the movie Sneakers. I love it.
Yeah. I think that if we're not already there, we're so much closer to it than we can anticipate or think about. Not saying that we are there, but I think the thought experiment is very interesting because, I mean, there are companies who have spent decades on it. Yep. So what we might see and read about is also maybe just a thin layer of information. So I think we're probably more closer to it, as with also the singularity when we reach that point as well. I think with AI, I think it's closer than we think. And that is also something history has shown us. So yeah, I think people should think a bit about it. Like, okay, how close are we, or are we there already? Has someone figured it out?
No, great observation. Always a pleasure talking with you, Hendrik. Thank you for joining us. Glad to have you here. I'd love to have you back in the future. And for those listening, thank you for listening to Life of a CISO. And I will see you next week with another great episode. Thank you so much and have a great week.